This is Mrs. Robertson, and today we're going to go over how to do the Decimal Review Study Guide number 2. We did Study Guide number 1 last week. The test is tomorrow, and I want to make sure that you understand how to do all of the problems. So let's begin. In problem number 1, you are subtracting decimals. You line your decimal points up, fill empty spots with 0, and then we have to borrow. Borrow from the 2, it turns into a 1. Let's see, I'll use this color. That turns into a 10. Borrow from the 10, it turns into a 9, so that's a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 9 minus 7 is 2. 1 can't subtract 6. Borrow from the 7. 11 minus 6 is 5. 6 minus 3 is 3, and 9 minus 5 is 4. It's a positive 43 and 522 thousandths. Any questions on that? Okay, in problem number 2, we are dividing. The first number is negative, the second one is positive, so the answer is going to be negative. Then we have to move our decimal point out of the divisor, move it 1, put it straight up. Now we're going to divide. Can you close the door, please, for me, Mary Kate? Thank you. All right, you're going to figure out how many 37s are in a 1, none, in a 15, none, in 152, well, it'll probably be 3 or 4. So I'm going to multiply to the side, and kids, when you do this, don't erase your little multiplies. 37 times 3. Now I'm going to take 37 times 4. It's going to be 4. So we're going to subtract, put the 4 above the 2, 148. Subtract, borrow from the 5. 12 minus 8 is 4. Bring down the next number. How many 37s are in a 48? 1. The 1 goes above the 8. Subtract. Bring down. How many 37s are in 111? Well, I already know because I multiplied by 3. And the answer is negative 4 and 1300ths. Make sure you have the negative sign in your circle. Problem number 3. We are going to multiply. When you multiply with decimals, you act like the decimal points aren't in the problem, and then you put them in at the end. Here we go. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry a 1. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Put down a place value, 0. 8 times 4 is 32. Put down a 2. Carry a 3. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus 3 is 51. Add them together. Now I noticed I have positive times negative means my answer will be negative. Add them together. 2, 11, carry a 1, 3. Now, how many numbers are behind a decimal point in the problem? 1, 2. 1, 2. The answer is negative 53 and 12 hundredths. Make sure your negative sign is in there. Are there any questions? All right, let's go on to number 4. In number 4, you line your decimal points up. If there isn't one, you put it at the back part of the problem. There we go. Negative plus negative means my answer will be negative. You add and keep the sign. That'll be 1/10. 8 and 8 is 16. Carry a 1. You get a negative 46 and 1/10. Any questions? All right, number 5. Negative times negative means the answer is positive. If you just want to put a little plus down, you can to help remind yourself it's positive. You don't have to. So here we go. 8 times 3 is 24. Put down a 4, carry a 2. 8 times 8 is 64. Plus 2 is 66. Put down a 6, carry a 6. 8 times 6 is 48. Plus 6 is 54. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? 1, 2. 1, 2. The answer is 54 and 64 hundredths. Are there any questions? All right, number 6. We are adding there. Oh, one's positive and one's negative, so we're going to subtract. Now, the largest absolute value belongs to the 91, and it's positive, so your answer will be positive in this problem. Okay, we are subtracting. 2 minus 0 is 2, 6 minus 2 is 4, 1 minus 1 is 0, and don't forget to bring down the 9. The answer is 90 and 42 hundredths. Any questions? All right, number 7. In problem number 7, you are subtracting, and when we subtract, you add the opposite. So we are going to add a positive, which makes us very happy because positive plus positive is going to be positive. Put your decimal point in. 8 plus 0 is 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. 7 plus 2 is 9. 6 plus 8 is, or 6 plus 2 is 8. A positive 89 and 88 hundredths. I need everyone to close their Chromebooks, please, because everyone should be grading their paper, not doing anything on their Chromebooks. Thank you. All right, number 8. When your problem is written like this, you put the top number in the box, the bottom number outside. You have to move your decimal point out of the divisor. Here we have to move it one place, so you move this one place. Put it straight up. How many 2's in a 0? 0. How many 2's are in a 6? 3. Subtract, bring down. 2 will go into 4 twice. So the answer is a positive 3 and 2/10. Does everyone know how to put your decimal points in correctly? On the quiz, some of you did not. So let's make sure. Yes?
How do you know when you put a 0 in front of it?
Like on this one, it doesn't matter when it's to the left of the decimal point unless you already have a digit. Like if I had a 1 and then you subtract and it goes into it 0 times, then you put it in between. Anytime behind the decimal point, though, you will. Like, I'll give you an example maybe later on or at the end of this to go over that. Number 9, they're both positive. You are adding. Line your decimal points up. And we are going to get 4 plus 8 is 12. Carry a 1. 12. Carry a 1. 3. 153 and 22 hundredths. Any questions? The next one, you have to read the directions. It says round to the nearest hundredths. So after you get your answer, round it to the hundredths. Here we go. 9 and 721 thousandths times 4 and 9 tenths. And we're going to multiply. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Carry a 1. 9 times 7 is 63. Plus 1 is 64. 9 times 9 is 81. Plus 6 is 87. Put a place value 0 because there's one digit after the 4. Now we're going to multiply by the 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28. Put down an 8, carry a 2. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 2 is 38. Add them together. 9, 12, carry a 1. 13, carry a 1. 16, carry a 1. 17, carry a 1, and you get a 4. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? There's a decimal point. 1, 2, 3. There's a decimal point. 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. But you have to round to the hundredths. So the answer is going to be 47, and is it going to be 63 or 64 hundredths?
63.
63. The 2 will not turn the 3 into a 4. That's your final answer. What did Mrs. Robertson forget to put into her answer? Yes. The negative sign, yes. So make sure you have negative. Go back and double check those things. Number 11, negative divided by negative means my answer will be positive. The first number goes in the division box. It's the dividend, and your divisor is negative 1 8/10. Move the decimal point one place, move it one place here, and put it up. Now this is an 18. How many 18s are in a 0? 0. In a 0, 7, 0. If you want to put a 0 above it, you can. How many 18s are in a 71? I think it's maybe going to be 4. Let's try it. 18 times 4 is 72. Oh, it's just a little too big. It's going to be a 3. 18 times 3, 54. So I put a 54 under the 71, and the 3 goes above the 1, which is behind the decimal point. You got to be careful. Now we're going to subtract. Borrow from the 7, it turns into a 6. 11 minus 4 is 7, and 6 minus 5 is 1. Bring down the next number. It's a 4. I think it's going to go into it close to 9 times. It's 8 or 9, but I think it's going to be 9. 18 times 9, 162. All right. Do you have a question? Yes. Then you can move if that's going to bother you and keep you from learning. All right, put a 9 up there, a 162 underneath. Bring down the next number. It's a 4. It will go into 124. Let's see, how many times do you think it'll go into 124? Which, this is the last place I have to divide since I round it to the hundreds. Is it going to be 7? 18 times 7. Carry a 5. 7 plus 5 is 126. 7's too big, so it's going to be a 6. And I can really stop because it says round to the hundreds, and I know it's going to be a 6, which I will have to go ahead. I can't just stop in the middle of the problem. Carry an 8, you get 108. Okay, now round to the hundreds. Your final answer is going to be 0 and what? Yes.
396.
Nope, that's thousands. That's 396 thousandths. We got to round it to this place. What will the 6 turn the 9 into? A 10. And then you add 1 to the 3. You can't, though, if you put 0 and 4/10, I'll have to count it wrong because that's 4/10. The answer wants hundreds. So the right answer is 0 and 40 hundredths because it was very specific about wanting something in the hundreds. Make sure you give it the hundreds place. Got it? Okay. In the next problem, we are subtracting. Line your decimal points up. Zeros in your empty spots. 1. Borrow from the 7. It turns into a 6, so that's a 10. 9. 16 minus 8 is 8. And the answer is going to be 88 and 50 hundredths on that one. 88 and 50 hundredths because it wants the hundredths. The 1 can't change the 0 into a 1, can it? No. Okay, let's go to the back side of this paper now. Let's do the back side, and I think I've got another one where it doesn't show. I ran off some extras of this paper. All right, here we go. All right, in number 13, we have a log is cut into 5 equal pieces. Please be quiet. Thank you. A log is cut into 5 equal pieces. How long is each piece if the log was originally 78.5 inches long? You're going to divide 78.5 divided by 5. Put your decimal point straight up. How many 5s are in a 7? 1. Subtract. Bring down. How many 5s are in a 28? 5. Subtract. Bring down. How many 5s are in a 35? 7. So the answer is, how long is each piece? Each piece is 15.7 inches. Okay, number 14. Joe bought food for the family at 4 different stores. Okay, Walmart, Aldi, and Target. If he spent a total of $200, how much did he spend at the 4th store? First, you add up all of the prices together. $23.54, $54, 1 cent, and $94.55. Kids, you get points on your test for showing your work. So make sure you show your work. 10, carry a 1, 11, carry a 1, 12, carry a 1. Did you get $172.10?
Yes.
Okay. Now we subtract it from $200. You have to show this step 2. Borrow from the 2. Okay. 1 minus 1 is 0. 9 minus 2 is 7. 9 minus, excuse me, that's not 1, that's 10. I knew there's 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. 9 minus 7 is 2. And the answer is $27.90. Is that what you have?
No, I had 28.
You forgot to borrow correctly. You were close. Okay, now let's do the order of operation problems down below. In problem number 15, remember the rules of PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, or divide, multiply if division sign comes first, add and subtract, or subtract, add if the subtraction sign is in front of an addition sign. So let's go ahead and do this problem. You're going to do 3 times 10 first. That equals 30. Now you have 30 plus 8 minus 59. 30 plus 8 is 38 minus 59. Well, we know when you subtract, add the opposite, the answer is going to now be negative, isn't it? 59 has the largest absolute value. It's negative. So now you subtract 59 minus 38. It's a negative 21. Now those are sometimes tricky. Be careful on them. Okay, let's go to number 16. The first thing you're going to do is this multiplying. And if you want to, go ahead and add the opposite. All right, so you have 1 4/10 times a negative 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry a 1. You have negative 4.2. So let's write down, what do we have? You have negative 9 plus a positive 4 plus a negative 4 2/10. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is negative 9 plus 4 gives me a negative 5. Now it's pretty easy. Negative 5 plus negative 4 2/10 leaves you with the answer of negative 9 2/10. Any questions on that? Those are going to be tricky. Just be very careful with them. Yes?
So we're always do the multiplication and division first?
If a division sign comes in front of a multiplying, you do the division first.
So division's always first?
No, let's, okay, an example would be if I had 12 divided by 3 times 7. you're going to do this first, and then you're going to multiply by 7, okay? If I had 14 times 2 divided by 3, you're going to multiply by 2 and then divide by 3 because the sign came in front of it, okay? All right, good question. Let's go on to number 17. Here we're going to do the parentheses first, and our answer will be negative. Negative times positive is negative. All right, 3 times 7 is 21. Carry a 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. Put down a place value, 0, and multiply by the 8. 8 times 7 is 56. Put down a 6. Carry a 5. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 5 is 21. Let's see, we get what? 14. Carry a 1. How many numbers are behind the decimal point in the problem? 2. So you get a negative 22 and 41 hundredths. Now, you have 8 minus a negative 22 and 41 hundredths. Well, this is going to make you happy because you get to add the opposite. So now they're both positive. So you will have 22 and 41 hundredths. The 8 goes under the 2, and you are going to get a positive 30 and 41 hundredths. Always circle your answer. Okay, any questions on that? All right, number 18. You are going to do the division first. Okay, so 4 8/10 divided by 2, it's going to be positive, and you get 24, 2 4/10. Okay, now you have 2 4/10 minus 55 and 95 hundredths. You have to add the opposite. The answer is going to be negative because 55 is bigger than a 2. It's negative. So we're going to subtract and make sure we keep our answer negative. 55 and 95 hundredths minus 2 4/10. The answer is going to be negative 53 and 55 hundredths. Negative 53 and 55 hundredths. Any questions? All right, number 19. First, you want to replace everything correctly. You're going to write down 20 plus y, which is negative 4 9/10 minus 3 8/10. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my subtraction, add the opposite. Now, addition is commutative, so you could move things around if you wanted to. You could go ahead and add the 2 negatives and then subtract it from 20 because there are plus signs between every number. And that's what I'm going to do. Negative 4 9/10 plus negative 3 8/10 will give me, line up your decimal points, they're both negative, will be a negative 8 7/10. So 20 plus a negative 8 7/10. We have to subtract. The answer will be positive though, because 20 is larger than an 8. So 20.0 minus 8 7/10. Borrow from the 2, it turns into a 1, that turns into a 10. Borrow from the 10, it turns into a 9, so that's a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. Don't forget your decimal point. 9 minus 8 is 1, and bring down the 1. The answer is a positive 11 3/10. Any questions? All right, number 20. You have 3 8/10 plus 3 8/10 plus negative 4 9/10 plus 9. All right, So I'm going to do 3 8/10 plus 3 8/10, 7 6/10. I'm going to subtract the 4 9/10 because when you add a negative, you subtract, minus 4 9/10. And then I'm going to add a 9 to it. 2 7/10, the 9 goes under the 2, and you end up with a positive 11 7/10. Are there any questions on how to do these problems? Your test is going to be very similar to this. I think it has 20 problems on it, and that's what you will be doing tomorrow. Any questions? Okay, then I'm going to give you your next practice worksheet to do tonight.